We have an amazing program, and we also have an amazing group of companies that are represented here that are looking to hire the best and the brightest from Clemson. So do take the time and make the most of the advantage and the opportunity to speak with these companies. We put together these College of the Week to bring in alumni entrepreneurs in these given fields. In the case tonight, architecture, art, and construction. And we have a local individual who's very accomplished, and I was talking with several of the students earlier that have different interests in commercial, residential, real estate development, architecture, and so forth. So you'll get to hear from him. He's a personal friend of mine, and grateful for Eric Newton taking time to be here tonight. We at the Launchpad do a lot of different things, a lot of different programming. Most of it is centered on startups, emerging ventures, small businesses. And when we bring people here like you tonight, we do tell you that we encourage you to speak with the companies after the presentation. And the odds of you getting an internship here tonight are infinitely better than any other job fair that you're going to go to. And because the people have taken the time to come here and they're interested in you and your skill set and your attributes. So that being said, I am going to turn it over to the Dean of the College of Architecture, Art, and Construction. We're delighted that you've come here, and we look forward to building more and more relationships with Dean Egdom-Mush and growing our affiliation and associations with your college. And thank you very much for coming.
Good evening, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm H.A.R. Domush. I'm the dean, founding dean of our new College of Architecture, Art, and Construction. We are a college of former pieces, but formed in this way about 2 years ago. So we're 2 years old in our college formation. I'll be learning alongside with you tonight, as this is my first Launchpad event. I started at Clemson about a year ago, August 2024, and I'm delighted to be here. I also applaud you all, students, for being here. Your presence today is a sign that you're curious, you're driven, open to thinking differently about your future. I certainly wasn't thinking about entrepreneurship when I was an undergraduate, so kudos to you, especially if you're earlier in your career. The disciplines in our college, architecture, art, and construction, and actually many sub-disciplines and other programs under them, might seem different on the surface, but they share a very powerful common thread. And that is to shape the world we live in. And that's why I love what we do and what we teach and what we research in our college all day, every day. Whether you're designing spaces, crafting experiences, or constructing physical realities, you're not just executing tasks, you're solving problems creatively. And that's the core of entrepreneurship. Because in today's world, it's no longer enough to just have talent. You need to know how to apply it, share it, and grow it into something sustainable. That's what entrepreneurship also allows you to do. Whether it's launching a design studio, creating a socially driven art collective, developing sustainable building solutions, or even inventing new materials, entrepreneurships give you the tools you turn ideas into action. So today is not just about theory. In some classes, we cover mostly theory. A lot of our classes are actually very hands-on experiential. But entrepreneurship is about possibility. You'll hear from a speaker who has turned their creative skills into a real business. You're also meeting others who have done the same after their education. Please ask questions, take notes, connect. Most of all, be open to imagining new directions for your work, your skills, and your voice. We can only teach you so much in our classes. So I appreciate you all coming here and getting more out of what Clemson has to offer. And the truth is, some of the most successful entrepreneurs aren't business majors. They're actually artists, architects, builders, people who see the world as it is, but not just as it is, but as it could be. So you can design and build the future, not just for yourself, but also for the whole world. So thank you for being here and enjoy the event.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Eric Newton. I am a rare native of the Clemson area. And yes, that's what I said. I'm a rare native. My family goes back. I'm the seventh generation. I've got kids that are eighth generation, one sitting here in the second row here. She's a junior at Clemson. I've got a freshman at Clemson, and I've got a sophomore at Daniel High School and an eighth grader at R.C. Edwards. But I was fortunate enough to be able to be raised in this great town we call Clemson, South Carolina. I grew up in a family of builders. My grandfather was a rock mason turned builder, builder developer. He built a lot of the houses right behind us in these neighborhoods back here on Riggs Drive and Strode Circle. And my father got into the business as well. And so I grew up from a very young age on job sites. I think I stepped on my first nail when I was 3 years old. I learned that that's not a good idea, but I was on the job sites picking up nails, trash, doing whatever they asked of me. I had 5 siblings, 3 of which were brothers, and they were all real involved in the construction industry, and they still are to this day. And being the youngest of those 4 boys, I was always the gopher. So, but I like to say that I got the best of each one of my siblings and my father by being able to do all those things for them, being able to be the gopher as a kid. My dad jokes about, I'm not sure how my grandfather got into being a rock mason. He jokes about my great grandfather being a bootlegger. I don't know if that's true, or if that was just an embellishment, but I do think it's a funny story. But nevertheless, I grew up on job sites. I learned construction at a very young age. And it taught me a lot of valuable lessons about life. It taught me a lot of lessons about entrepreneurship, and that you have to work hard for the things that you want. My father, whenever I would ask for money, he would say, "Go out and cut the grass, and I'll pay you I'll give you money." It was kind of one of those things, and I'm very fortunate to have grown up in that environment. Like I said, I went to I went to Daniel High School, and it was Morrison Elementary at the time. Then it later became Clemson Elementary, and then Daniel High School. Played sports there. Had a knee injury, which was devastating to me. But so I had to refocus my attention on things. I applied to Clemson as a junior in high school and got in. I don't think I could get in now, but I got in as a junior. And so I decided, since I wasn't going to be able to play sports my senior year, that I went ahead and came to Clemson. And because I'd grown up in the construction industry, I thought I needed more of a business background. So it was funny when I got invited to be the keynote speaker for this event, given that I was a financial management major at Clemson with a concentration in real estate. But I'll tell you, it was one of the best experiences of my life. I was very involved as a student while I was at Clemson. I was involved in a fraternity and student government, and I was in the Student Alumni Council and other organizations. And it taught me very valuable leadership skills that I carry with me today. I worked all the way through school for a brother who was a single-family residential builder. And while I was involved with all those different things, and I was still the gopher, but my responsibilities grew as I got older, and became more competent. And I graduated from picking up trash to building decks to framing houses. I framed a lot of houses in my life. I've done everything construction related that you can imagine. Of course, there are things that I don't enjoy. I chose not to do any of those things if I could help it. But so fast forward to, I graduated with my financial management degree from Clemson in 98. I immediately went and got, because I had a concentration in real estate, I immediately went and got my broker's license. I think my dad and I going back and forth about this, but I think I was the youngest broker because I graduated a year from high school, or a year early from high school. I was 21 years old and I got my broker's license right out of school, and I was doing traditional brokerage while I was looking for land to develop in the area. And I knew that what I learned while I was in school as a financial management major, that I wanted to get into land development more than anything else. Building was just a part of me. It came naturally to me, but the horizontal land development component of construction really fascinated me. So I did my first development. I had a banker right out of school that took a chance on me and loaned me the money to buy a piece of land, and it had a bunch of road frontage on it, and it had timber. It had timber about half the value of what I paid for the property in timber, and I sold all the timber, and then because of all the road frontage, I had very little development cost, and I said, wow, this is easy. But it's not easy. But to this day, that's been one of my most successful developments I think at that point I was 22 years old, but it sort of catapulted me into, to my career. I had brothers that were building houses, and I took more of the land development approach, and I started buying land, and developing big tracts of land for them. They were pretty big for the area. They were building about 300 or 400 houses a year. So I was helping their clients find lots in the area all over the upstate, and then developing lots. I've developed thousands of lots in my career. And then during that time, me and two of my siblings started developing student housing. And we did, at the time, there was, right after I graduated, the first student housing project was Berkeley, I think it was called Berkeley Village. It's now called Clemson Edge, right off of Highway 93. And then what is now Clemson Village, that was the second. When I was in school, you had apartments and houses, and you had fractured ownership and apartment complexes with the different condos, and you would go to a property management company and you would get their availability list, and you would try to find the best fit for you on what you needed and the price range you want to be in. When I was in school, rent was about $200 a person. Can you believe that? Now it's quite a bit more. But the purpose-built student housing started becoming a thing in the early 2000s. My brothers and I built probably the third purpose-built student housing complex in Clemson. It was called Tigertown Village. And we started building other little smaller projects, student housing complex, while I was doing my land development business, while they were building. And it wasn't long after we had developed these projects that we realized that we didn't like the way they were being managed. So I decided to start a property management company to manage those projects. And I have an office downtown that's been down here for a very long time. And some of you are probably thinking, this guy doesn't know what he wants to do with his life when you see all these different logos on here. So I'll explain a little bit about that. We're a vertically integrated company. We do land development, or I'll just say development, horizontal construction, and we do sales and property management. Each one of those entities is a different brand. As you'll see, got Focus Construction, that's our vertical construction company. We've got Tiger Properties, that's our property management company. Rutledge Development's our land development company. And then Focus Realty is our sales company. And then you see Newton Scott, that's a new partnership that I developed with Jeff Scott, the former football coach, and we're doing some projects together. So I I have figured out what I want to do. I just figured out that I want to be vertically integrated. And so it's worked out really well for me in my 27-year career to be doing what I'm doing. It's allowed me to bring together all my skill sets that I developed over the years from the time I was a little kid doing all the construction to, to all the brokerage, to land development, and to the property management. And so I've been very, very blessed to be doing what we're doing. We've done some of the bigger projects that we've done here in the last several years. We did, like I said, I did Tigertown Village. I did the Tigertown farmhouses. We did, we did Cambridge Creek, and one of the most recent ones is Maverick Hills. Maverick Hills. This is what Maverick Hills looked like about a year and a half ago. Well, let's see. No, a little over, actually, this was 2 years ago. This is what Maverick Hills looked like 2 years ago. This is what Maverick Hills looks like now. What you see here, we did really in about a 14-month period. So this is a combination of townhomes and what we call our cottages. It's a purpose-built student housing project. It's got a very nice clubhouse with a pool and amenity area. We got pickleball. We got a outdoor pavilion with a fireplace, and highly amenitized, as nice amenity as you'll have in Clemson. I'll show you. Single family. This is a single family lot that we started building on, and it turned out to be this. So as you can imagine, to be able to go from this to this takes developing a very unique skill set. I knew how to frame houses. I knew how to build a house from the ground up, but I didn't always know how to get a deal like this put together, right? So that's where my finance background came into play. And so I've developed relationships with a lot of lenders, a lot of investors. It takes a lot of different people to get involved. I've got a vendor network of subcontractors, suppliers, lenders, equity partners, you name it. It takes a village to get one of these things put together. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of perseverance. Like I said, I've been doing this for 27 years. And I remember looking back when I was y'all's age and thinking to myself, how am I ever going to get to the point to where I can do something like this? And so I figured I would just give you a few words of wisdom. I could sit here and talk about this stuff all day long. One of the things that I figured out pretty quickly is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. This guy, Anthony D'Angelo, he kind of recoined the phrase. He said, don't reinvent the wheel, just realign it. And maybe that won't hit you right now at your age, but at some point it will hit you. I felt like for the longest time that I had to be original. I had to create an original idea. And I quickly realized that you don't have to create original ideas. You can just take somebody else's ideas and make them your own, and you can refine them, and you can refine certain parts of the process. You can take someone's design and make it better. There's so many different ways to skin the cat. Sorry for any cat lovers out there. I realize that's an old saying I probably shouldn't say, but there's a million ways to skin the cat. And so that's one piece of advice. Don't reinvent the wheel, just realign it. Just think about what other people are doing and figure out how to do it better. And when I told you earlier, I feel like I got a piece of every one of my siblings, I really mean that. I was paying attention. Though I was the low man on the totem pole, I embraced that. And I looked at all their strengths and their weaknesses, and I'd like to think that I took their strengths and made them my own. And so I took what they did and I've refined it, and I feel like I'm doing a better job than they ever did. That's supposed to be funny, but they would give me a hard time if they knew I was saying that. I read a lot of self-help books. I've read a lot of self-help books all the time, and I've got a list of some that here at the end of the presentation that I'll give you. But I saw this on Twitter the other day. This guy, Ross Harkness. I've never heard of him before, but I saw this, and it was kind of cool. He said, you know, as an entrepreneur, I'll tell you, you have to develop what he calls an iron mind. And an iron mind is essential for self-mastery. You know, being in business for yourself is not for everyone. And if you don't want to be in business for yourself, that's perfectly fine. But no matter what you do, you need to develop an iron mind. If you want to be, whatever success looks like for you, you need to develop an iron mind. And what that means is, so he said there's 5 principles. There's focus, optimism, discipline, resiliency, and perseverance. And much time left. So I'll just quickly touch on those things. Here's how to build focus. An iron mind is a focus mind. You need to focus on what matters: goals, priorities, and the task at hand. When I started writing down my goals is when I started achieving them. I go back and look, I write down things. I used to have notepads, and I kept all of them. And I go back and look at stuff from 1998 when I graduated, the goals, and it's amazing what I've accomplished over the years. So write down your goals, priorities. I'm going to touch on that in a minute too, and the task at hand. When you feel the stress, the challenge, and you want to quit, remember why you're doing what you're doing, and focus on the task. Number 2, optimism. An iron mind knows it will always work out. You might not be sure of how it will work out, but you must trust that it will. Optimism is so important. And remember that everything else you've gone through, it all worked out in the end, and so will everything else. 3, discipline. An iron mind overcomes resistance. You're not always going to want to do the work. In fact, most of the time you won't. But you need to be willing to do the work regardless of how you feel. So I think about the athletes that go out and they grind it out every day, and they do the workouts that they don't want to do. They don't want to get up in the morning, but they go do it, right? Discipline's like a muscle. Build it up by using it. If you develop bad habits, you know, your bad habits will compound. If you develop good habits, your good habits will compound. Principle number 4, resiliency. An iron mind can take the hits. You need to view setbacks, failures, and challenges as opportunities to grow and improve as a person. Instead of seeing the negative, reframe it and look to see how you can learn and progress from your experience. I can't tell you how important that one is. I've been knocked down so many times, and there are times when I want to give up, and I just keep going. I just keep plugging. And perseverance. An iron mind doesn't quit. Things are going to be tough. You need to be willing and able to just keep going. When you feel like quitting, stopping, or just giving up, do just one more. 1 page, 1 step, 1 rep, 1 day. Just do 1 dang more. So one of the books I'm going to recommend, and I'm sure this guy, Ross Harkness, probably read this book, and he took an idea, right? He didn't reinvent the wheel. He took some ideas from things that he learned. And when you see this, you'll see that some of these principles that I outlined earlier are embedded in what Stephen Covey puts in his 7 habits of highly effective people. Be proactive. Focus on what you can control and take responsibility for your actions. Begin with the end in mind. Define your vision, values, and goals to guide your decisions. Put first things first. Prioritize tasks based on importance rather than urgency. Think win-win. Seek mutually beneficial solutions in relationships and collaborations. I can't tell you how important that is. You don't want to be in a win-lose situation. You don't want to be in a lose-win. You want to create win-win situations. Everybody involved, every one of my vendors, I want them to make money. Every one of my subs, I want them to make money. Everybody that I work with, I want them to make money, because that's how you get ahead. You got to be fair, and you got to create win-win situations. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Practice empathetic listening before expressing your viewpoint. Synergize. Leverage diverse perspectives to create innovative, collaborative solutions. And then sharpen the saw. I love this one. Continuously renew your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self. That's so important. Be ye renewed by the renewing of your mind, right? And you want to be a constant learner. You know, when you graduate from Clemson, some of you may never go back to school. I went back and got my MBA for no reason at all. And I got it at Southern Wesleyan only because it had the best program for adults with kids. And so I went back in 2000, I think I graduated in 2015. I just did it just because. I didn't do it because I had to. I did it just because. Read books, read every day, read trade articles. If you're wanting to get in the construction industry, read construction trade articles. If you're in the finance industry, read financial management trade articles. Read every day. Do what you can to fine tune your craft. And the last couple of things there, I could talk about this stuff for days, but this is something that I talk about with my team. We've got it fluctuates between 40 and 50 people on our team in all the divisions of our company. Stephen Covey has this priority matrix. He's got important, urgent, important, not urgent, not important and urgent, and not important and not urgent. Try to spend the majority of your time in quadrant 2. That's taking the proactive approach. You'll never eliminate quadrant 1, but if you're doing quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, you're just wasting time. I struggle with this still to this day. Quadrant 2 is relationship building, finding new opportunities, long-term planning, preventative activities, personal growth, and recreation. So you still have to find time to play golf or hunt or fish or whatever it is that you like to do. It's really important. And the last thing I'll leave you with, no matter what you do, and I tell this to a lot of groups that I talk to, when you come out of school, and I was guilty of this myself, you come out of school thinking, I've got this degree, now what am I going to do? And you think you're worth whatever you think you're worth. And sometimes you think you're worth a lot. I thought I was worth a lot. And I quickly realized that I wasn't worth a lot. And so what I would recommend to each and every one of you is to learn as much as you can. Try to get experience through internships. Internships are being offered to you out here. Get some experience, because one of the first questions that is going to get asked of you on your when you're doing a job interview is how much experience you've had. And if you have none, then it's going to make it really hard for you. You can have a 4.0 and you might not get hired. All else being equal, the 4.0 student with experience is going to get hired over the 4.0 student with no experience. So, and always remember that you have to provide value to whoever it is that you're working for. You know, grow where your feet are planted, like Dabo says. You know, you have to be able to provide value to whoever it is, whatever company you're working for. If you're working at Starbucks, provide value to Starbucks. If you're working for the restaurant if you're working at Rick Irwin's, provide value to Rick Irwin's. If you're working for the yoga place, provide value, and do that job to the best of your ability, and you will not go unnoticed. And so I use this Welch grid, Jack Welch. He's got some great books too. I use this to evaluate my employees, and he did too. You have cheerleaders, and they're in alignment with your value. They got high values alignment, but they're not very effective. 70% of those can be moved up. You have Deadwood, they have low values alignment and low effectiveness. And you have Terrorist, he called Terrorist, low values alignment, but highly effective. So that would be like a guerrilla salesman. That's somebody that's going to win at all cost. May have questionable ethics, questionable values. And then you have your high values alignment and highly effective people. Those are your superstars. The cheerleaders you can coach up, and the superstars you want to try to keep. You want to compensate them well. I've got some superstars in this room that work with me, and I hope I'm able to keep them for a very long time. But like I said, my advice to everybody is that make sure that you provide value. Always remember that you need to be a constant learner, and that you will look back, in my case, 27 years from now, and you'll realize that everything that you did to that point got you to where you are. And so I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today. Thanks, John, for inviting me, and go Tigers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Newton. And we will open the floor for some questions from the audience.
I'm curious about how you see the gorillas. So it's a really hard worker, or however you describe, but misaligned with the leadership or creating bad energy and things like that in your company.
Yeah, you know, we've had some what I call duds. I mean, you can have the dead wood, that just people that aren't very motivated, they're not very effective, they're not in alignment with your values. I mean, those people, they weed themselves out pretty quickly. Sometimes you have like the highly effective person that comes in and you're like, this guy is going to take things to the next level. But then you realize that they're using questionable tactics. They may want to lie, cheat, and steal to get ahead. And you quickly realize, I never want to get ahead in life by being that person or having somebody that works for me that's that type of person. I don't care how effective they are, because it will come back to bite you for sure, 100%.
So you mentioned you work with your brother in your companies. What would your advice be to someone who's in a family business or looking to go into one?
It's a good question. I just did a guest lecture at 2 classes a couple weeks ago. And it was about family entrepreneurship. Yeah, it's interesting because I kind of took my own path, but I worked closely. I've always, they say you eat what you kill. Except for when I was in college, I always, I've either been commission based or, I eat what I kill. And so, but I worked closely with a few of my siblings and on some projects. I mean, you're either going to collaborate and work with family members, you're going to work with people you may know, friends maybe, or you're going to work with people you don't know. For me, there was always a level of trust, because you're working with a family member, that isn't always the case. But if you're working with a family member, you should be able to trust them, and they should be able to trust you. The best advice, and I told this to the classes I taught a few weeks ago, it's along the lines of what I was saying about providing value. When you come out of school, somebody established that business, right? Whether it was your father or your mother or your grandfather or somebody. You can't come out of school thinking that you're just valuable just because you graduated and you have a degree. You have to go in with the mindset that I'm going to provide value to this company. If that's the path you choose, go in with that mindset. Know that you're low end on the totem pole, and you work your butt off and show them that you eventually deserve to be up at the top. And you don't always be a contrarian. Be respectful to the people that started the company, and treat them just like you would if you were working for somebody else. But make sure that you are providing value. That's the most important thing, that you're providing value and you're doing it in an ethical way. And if you have new ideas, bring those ideas up, but bring them up in a respectful way.
In all your years of experience, has there ever been a case where you feel that you're in a negotiation or you're discussing some business with somebody else, and there's absolutely no way you can win with them, they're being really complicated or very unapproachable? How do you kind of deal with that situation if you have encountered that? How do you think someone that's going into the field who's new to whatever industry they're going into should deal with it?
That's a good question. I think from a very young age, I've been able to recognize personalities pretty well. I think I kind of just study. Sometimes people say I'm the quietest one in the room, and I do that on purpose. I like to figure people out, and figure out what makes people tick. I do that because I want to see the type of personality that I'm dealing with. Sometimes you're going to deal with a type A, you know, a guerrilla salesman type person, or somebody that wants to win at all costs, you know, that wants the win-lose. And so I choose not to be in, I mean, and at this point in my career, I can be very selective in who I work with, but I try not to work with people that want to create win-lose situations. So if I feel like it's heading down that path, just walk away. I mean, in a respectful way. I try to work with people that are, and you'll have some type A's that are that you'll work with that are good people. And I guess I'm kind of a type A. I don't know, but that are good people, and you just learn how to create those win-win scenarios, and you figure out pretty quickly the type of person you're dealing with. I'd study personalities and read up on it. It's pretty fascinating and learn. I mean, you deal with some people that are just want to be in control of the whole entire situation, and you deal with people that are very passive. I dealt with a guy one time. It's kind of surprised me. He was an old football coach. I'm not going to say his name, but we were going to build him a house, and when I got there, I was expecting, you know, this super high end, you know, or high energy, you know, aggressive personality. And I got there, he was not that at all, very passive. And I had to steer the conversation, and I was the one asking him or giving him the answers to questions that I thought he should be asking me. So you have those extremes. You have the passive and you got the super aggressive, and you just have to figure out how to work with those different personalities.
So coming out of college, is there anything you would have done differently or something that you would have liked to have known when you graduated?
Well, I figured out pretty quick that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and work for myself. So that worked out. And I also, I didn't say this earlier, but there were a couple of developers in the area that I wanted to learn from. And it's amazing what somebody will let you do if you tell them you'll work for free. So talk about the internship programs. Most of these are probably going to be paid internship programs. Ours are paid internship programs. But when you're willing to work for free, I was used to being a poor college kid, so I went and I asked these developers if they would just let me ride around with them and run errands for them, do whatever, and I learned a lot doing that. So I don't regret that one bit. I kind of wished a little bit, not much. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the way things played out. I kind of wish that I would have probably gotten my real estate license in college and tried to do a little more brokerage while I was in school. I mean, but had I done that, I wouldn't have learned how to work hard. And I mean, I was doing crazy things. I mean, we were building houses, you know, around the lakes, and I mean, and my brothers didn't believe in using equipment. I poured footings at the bottom of, you know, a huge hill with a wheelbarrow, you know, delivered, you know, hardwood floors and sheetrock down to lots that were 400 feet from the road, and we had to just hand carry it all. I mean, and I wouldn't have learned that and that work ethic had I done that. But yeah, I guess the only thing I would have maybe done differently is gotten my real estate license sooner. And if any of you have like the real estate concentration with your major, I think it's still the case, but that's what allowed me to go straight for my broker's license right out of school. You can go take the test without going to, you know, one of the real estate schools. So, I mean, if you've taken any real estate classes, I think you can still go take the real estate exam, and you'll at least learn that part, because there's a lot of law, like state law especially, that's critical that you would use in construction and real estate. All right, thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we're just grateful again, really down to earth gentlemen, Southern gentlemen here, and we're grateful to the dean for coming and for her staff. We have a couple different sayings around here, one of which is open mouths get fed. And so envision the mother bird coming and a bunch of little birds there in the nest, and the birds that open their mouths are the ones that get fed. So in that vein, you're here, put yourself out there, talk to some of these companies. And we're handing out now a piece of paper that has the company names and the positions they're looking to fill. This is a gold mine, as I mentioned before. And so this is like such low risk also for you to just go around, talk to people. So we encourage you to do that. We are going to have the companies come up and introduce themselves and just mention what kind of positions. So maybe just 30 seconds, 60 seconds each.
Good afternoon. I wanted to say thank you for saying it the way you said it. We drove hours to come meet you. So please come talk to us. This is really exciting for us. I'm a Clemson graduate from a long time ago, and I kind of remember what it feels like to sit in your shoes. And, you know, opportunities like this to meet employers and find out what's important to them is incredibly important. My partner and Adam started for Abused about 15 years ago. We're commercial general contractors. We do about $80 million worth of commercial development and construction every year. We have an office in Charleston and in Fort Mill, which is a suburb of Charlotte. And we're looking for 2 internships that are, quite frankly, we're hoping to transition into a full career with us. The positions are for estimating and for construction management. We're looking forward to meet you all. Please stop by.
Hey guys, I'm Adam Ferreira. Thank you so much. I'm the guy in Charleston, and my partner David is in Fort Mill. We just want to say thank you for being here. And if you're not in construction science or architecture or civil engineering, but you have an interest in being in construction and real estate development, don't pigeonhole yourself just to one little area. Come talk to us. We can show you how to explore various options, just like this gentleman talked about up here. And we'll tell you how to work through acquisition to due diligence to developing real estate to the finance side of it as well. So we've got some great opportunities for everybody. Come give us a shout at our table. Thank you.
I'm Bryant Nixon, president of Triangle Construction in Greenville, South Carolina. Triangle was started in 1947. I appreciate being here. I was a co-op at Clemson, and my second co-op position was at Triangle 35 years ago or so. We are excited to be building Clemson's first parking deck. So come by and see us at our job site, and look forward to meeting you all.
How are y'all today? My name is Rain Whitrock, and I'm the Junior Chief of Staff for Eric New Enterprise Group, which is our CEO right here, who had the lucky opportunity to talk to you guys. But in a room full of experience, I am actually quite new to the industry, and I actually was an intern for Eric here, and I graduated from Clemson, and I reached out to him and said, hey, I'm really interested in construction development, sales, the finance, acquisition, due diligence periods for everything he does. And I was very grateful to have an opportunity working for him and eventually turn into a full-time career with them. But not just piggybacking on what he had to say, just you don't have to pigeonhole yourself just in development and construction. And I had interest in those, but also going into everything from how vertically integrated we are as a company. So take our opportunity to reach out to us. We are also looking for a full-time estimating position and project management position as well. But for internship, we have a construction administrative intern. So they'll be really heavily involved with us from a management role, working with me, Eric, and part of our construction team. So thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tempest Dozier, founder, owner, and president, CEO of Dream Preparatory Academy. We are an educational nonprofit. We have 8 internships that we are developing for the summer. They are full-time and they're paid. During the school year, they're a school credit, but we also help you along the way to get you ready for summer camp. What I'm here for is for you guys to come if you like the littles and you want to create the STEM side of not these cool guys. They're established with their construction. But if you want to help the littles understand what that part is and you're an architect major, we have a space for you. So definitely come to my table and learn more.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Maggie Lipuma. I'm with Thomas Mechanical and Fire Protection. We are a mechanical contractor of South Carolina. We've been around for about 21 years. Our owner, Martin Lowry, is a Clemson graduate as well, as is his son, Thomas Lowry, who graduated in May, and both of them were your Tiger mascots, which is fun fact. But we are a mechanical company, so we do a lot of the HVAC systems, we do air compression systems, and we also do fire sprinklers, which is a little bit different. It's not something that's really taught a lot, but there is a huge need for just designers in the sprinkler systems, understanding the codes and the importance of it, because if there's ever a catastrophe in a building, it's those sprinkler systems that are going to save people. So it's something that should be thought about more often. It's not necessarily is. It is a dirty job. I'm not going to lie. Our guys get really dirty doing it, but we love it. And it's really rewarding at the end of the day to say I was part of that project. Our company does a lot of work here at Clemson. We're doing the AMIC building right now. We just finished up Tillman and the Ravenel building as well. So you'll probably see our trucks around very often because we are involved here a lot, but we service the entire upstate, and we are also licensed in Georgia and North Carolina as well. And separate note, because I see a lot of ladies in the room, which makes me really excited. I'm on the board of directors for NAWIC, which is the National Association for Women in Construction. If you're interested about knowing more for that, ladies, please come see me. I'd love to get you guys connected. And we are looking for summer interns on our sprinkler side as well as our HVAC mechanical side. But nice to be here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ben Weeks. I am the Director of Client Services at J. Davis Construction. J. Davis is a 28-year-old company this year. We're a general contractor here in the upstate. I was going to say we were the closest office to campus, but then I saw Eric here and I can't say that anymore. So, but we're pretty close. We're just out on the highway on I-85. We do a lot of work here at Clemson. We've done, our company's done over 100 projects on campus here at Clemson over the years. Our relationship with the university goes back over 20 years. We've done everything from change out a doorknob to we just cut the ribbon on the new facilities campus over on Seneca Creek Road today. So done a lot of stuff with Clemson over the years. Here today, hiding in the back, is Allie Linder. Allie's our COO. He said he already gave one speech today and he wasn't going to give another one. So, but we are looking for interns for the summer of 26 coming up. At least 2 here in our Anderson office. Our interns kind of, we run them through the gauntlet a little bit, we say. So interns at J. Davis take a turn through the pre-construction department, work some in estimating. They may go out in the field and shadow a superintendent. They may work in marketing a little bit. So we like for our interns, especially when they're new, to kind of get a full scope of what the construction industry is like and what's out there, and let folks kind of pick and choose which direction they want to go. So got a really good history with our interns, pretty good success rate. There's one in the room that doesn't work for me anymore, but we got a pretty good success rate with bringing them on. We got about a 90% success rate with interns who stay at least run 2 summers with us, about a 90% success rate in those interns getting full-time positions. So we'd love to talk to you. We'll be right back here.
Hey, I'm Tyler Dawson, project manager with Harper General Contractors. My colleague Trip Ross, senior estimator. So Harper is a full-service general contractor headquartered in Greenville, South Carolina. We're one of the oldest and largest contractors headquartered in South Carolina. We're actually celebrating our 75th year this year, and we have offices ranging from Greenville, Columbia, Charleston, Conway, Asheville, Charlotte, Raleigh, and now Roanoke and Nashville. We're looking for multiple internship opportunities. I think last year we took on about 50 plus interns, ranging from all of our divisions, commercial, industrial. We also have our own in-house IT department, construction technology team for our VDC, marketing, finance, you name it. So a lot of opportunities.
Well, thank you so much for this introduction. As you can see, this is amazing. They are all here for you guys to talk to you. So please stop, get information from them, ask questions, pick up their minds. They know a lot and they're willing, they're here. Some of them drove a lot to be here to talk to you. So take the opportunity, stop by. We have pizza in the back, so network. Try to get an internship if you're looking for one. You don't know where the next opportunity is. Thank you, everybody, and thank you so much for being here.